Good morning, everyone. Sorry this post is a little bit later than usual going up. Sorry to all you early risers who pick up on it very quickly in the mornings. But it's good to be with you and to be sharing these things from the Psalms again. Just something to say before we start, and that is that we will have some kind of live reflection or service or something from the Man's Son Good Friday. That will not involve communion. I mentioned that yesterday, that we were thinking about that. It will not involve communion. We've had some advice from PCI that wouldn't be appropriate at this time, and actually on reflection on that, I think we are kind of in a period that is almost like exile. We're certainly exiled from our buildings and exiled from exiled from being physically together, and so I think it might just be appropriate to not share in the Lord's Supper together as we kind of experience a little bit, a very, very little bit of what God's ancient people experienced being exiled from their place of worship. Hopefully when we are together again, we will be able to do that and share around the Lord's table. Let me read from Psalm 129. Greatly have they afflicted me from my youth, let Israel now say. Greatly have they afflicted me from my youth, yet they have not prevailed against me. The ploughers ploughed upon my back, they made long their furrows. The Lord is righteous, he has cut the cords of the wicked. May all who hate Zion be put to shame and turned backward. Let them be like the grass on the housetops, which withers before it grows up, with which the reaper does not fill his hand, nor the binder of sheaves his arms. Nor do those who pass by say, the blessing of the Lord be upon you. We bless you in the name of the Lord. This psalm is a psalm about affliction. It's a psalm about perseverance and about patience. I wonder how many people have asked the question in your household, how long is this going to go on for? I know it's been asked in our house, and I know it's been discussed on the media as well. How long will the restrictions last? How long will this keep going? And the answer at the moment to that is we just don't know. But as Christians, we shouldn't be unused to that sense of having to wait, having to be patient, having to persevere, because the life of blessing that we talked about yesterday from Psalm 128 can also be a life of affliction, a life that needs perseverance, a life that needs patience, and a life that often for God's people in other times and today in other places in the world is a life of persecution and having to endure that. That's what's being referred to here in Psalm 129, this idea of the ploughman ploughing a furrow across your back. Just think of the agony of that illustration for a moment. Ploughs being ploughed across a human body. But if you think about that for a moment, what is happening here in this psalm as well is it's looking forward to something. It's looking forward to the cross. We don't often think about the aspect of what happened to Jesus between his trial and the crucifixion. But we know from the Gospels that he was flogged mercilessly. His back was cut to ribbons. And that's reflected in this psalm. A shredded back. Someone who has endured and endured and endured the worst kind of suffering and persecution. But here we're reminded also that that persecution, that evil will not succeed ultimately. The cords of the plough are cut so that it ultimately has no impact on the person. It has nothing to show for its hard work. Those men, those soldiers who flogged and whipped Jesus on his way to the cross, now we know have nothing to show for all their hard work. Because Jesus conquered death, he conquered the grave, he conquered suffering, he rose again. there is no blessing for those who oppose Christ. And for those of us who follow Christ and who find life hard, well, that's to be expected. That is to be expected. And we are called here in this psalm and in all sorts of other places to persevere. The life of discipleship is not a bed of roses. It's not supposed to be an easy thing. Jesus told his disciples, in this world you will have trouble. You can expect that. You can expect to be disliked. You can expect to be hated. You can expect to be opposed. You can expect all of those things. And you can expect to have to persevere, to keep going. Very often we are tempted to give up on the life of perseverance. We're tempted to just throw it all in. But that's not what we're called to do. And when we're tempted to feel that way, we should look towards Jesus. The writer of Hebrews says this. Consider him who endured from sinners such hostility against himself, so that you may not grow weary or faint-hearted. He calls us to set our eyes on Jesus, to consider Jesus, and to remember what he suffered as we suffer, what he persevered through as we persevere. When will this all be over? We just don't know. But we do know that Jesus holds the future, that we can trust him, that we can look to him as the author and the perfecter of our faith, and we can persevere. God give you grace today to keep going in whatever you're doing, and God bless.